really having this urge to do sex work since I was like 15.
Really?
I mean, yeah, I saw the show Secret Diaries of a Call Girl.
Okay.
Which is based on a book, based on a true story.
Okay.
So I was like, wait, this is possible? But I was only 15, so I didn't do anything about it yet.
Right.
It wasn't until I was 26 at the tail end of like an 8-year relationship with a man that I was like, I have to try this. Please, can you let me try this? Can I go on like the sugar dating website and scratch this itch? And he was like, no. And then I was like, well, then can we at least open our relationship? And we tried that and it crashed and burned.
Okay.
But when he dumped me, then I was like, literally 2 weeks later, I was like, well, guess I can do sex work now.
Yeah. Hello, my loves, and welcome to this very fun and exciting episode we have for you of Ask a Sex Therapist. So today I have a very fun guest. Let me introduce her. GG Sauvage. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Sauvage.
It's like is a writer and all-around artist on a mission to fuck shame away and empower people with self-love. Read her erotica in Cosmopolitan magazine and Boy Slut, which is actually one of my previous guests, Zachary Zane. She designed the sexiest deck alive, erotic oracle cards to turn you on and help you turn the corner, and wrote the audio drama Sex and the Synchronicity. See her work at Refinery 29, Vogue Italia, Vulture, College Humor, and Hoo Ha Ha. And check out her website for more. So we'll link to her website. But welcome, Gigi. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I got to figure out like a way to get people to know the pronunciation of my last name.
That's true. I should have asked.
But you know what? There's a perfume now. There's like a cologne called Sauvage by Dior.
Really?
And Johnny Depp is like Sauvage. So I just need to send people that.
Here's Johnny pronouncing my name right.
Yeah.
So what does Sauvage mean? Because you renamed yourself, right?
I named myself.
Tell us about that,
exactly.
what it means.
Thank you for asking. I feel like I haven't had the opportunity to really talk about that on air yet.
Yeah.
But I chose Sauvage because it means wild. And I wanted a reminder to myself that I am a wild creature. All this shit is made up. All this society, I can change my mind at any point. And this all stemmed from a real death and rebirth in my life, which was a sexual assault in 2019. So coming through the healing of that sexual assault and doing EMDR therapy and really like reshaping my mind, the gifts that came out of that was like this amazing self-permission of who am I living my life for? Like my life flashed before my eyes. So who am I living it for? And when the answer was not me, the answer was like my parents' religion's ideals.
Whoa.
I was like, no. And also this biblical name that I have, no.
Okay.
And I, long story short, got on OnlyFans as the good ass goddess, shortened it to GG, started just being GG.
I love that.
That's where it comes from. And then a couple years in, I was like, we need everyone to be calling me GG Sauvage. And I just legally changed it.
That is so cool. And that's really interesting to me because you said before we started recording, because we were connected through Jackie, who was on a previous episode, and you're like, oh, we all have a lot in common. And it's really funny because I'm not going to give away my full name, but my name on like the Field app in FetLife has wild in it also.
Nice. I love it.
It's for the same reason. I think there's this really like natural, innocent wildness that like gets tamped down, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you know the book Women Who Run with Wolves or the Talks. It originally was Talks. Like that also helped me realize like, wow, especially as a woman, I'm so desire led. I'm so like primal, but these structures of even like the patriarchy of passing down my father's name that I didn't even like anyways, because I'm an artist and I want everything to be like pretty, you know, I was just like, whatever, I'm going to make the change. And I was going to also use wild, like be GG wild. And then my family's French, my sister speaks it. And she was like, do sauvage because it means wild.
So it's like savage, but sauvage.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Creature of the woods,
I
wild
love it.
person. Yeah.
Okay. That's so cool. So obviously going through a sexual assault is traumatic, but it sounds like it was a catalyst in a lot of ways.
In so many ways. Now, I'm not talking about the acute, like the immediate 6 months to a year. You know, this wasn't coming through yet, but many, many months into the healing and therapy, and all the way until now, I honestly am just pretty grateful that that happened, because it woke me the fuck up. I do maintain, like, you don't have to have trauma to wake up.
True.
But sometimes it's like a gift to wake up.
I think that's an important lens. I mean, I think for me, even as a therapist, sometimes there was this desire to take away my client's pain. And it really took me reflecting on my own life and my own periods of intense growth and seeing how pain or trauma was a catalyst to be like, ooh, I don't want to rob people of this. I can support them through it. I can root for them. I can guide them and show them a path. But, you know, I can't take away that pain and I'd actually be doing a disservice.
Exactly. It's really the, like, feel it to heal it.
100%.
There's no way around it.
Yeah. And I know you mentioned that you've had like a pretty big transformation in general. So I'd love to hear sort of, and wherever you want to start, if you want to start with like growing up or just kind of like a few years ago.
I'll give kind of like the summary of the 180 and then we can choose where to dive in.
Okay,
but
cool.
The summary is like my grandma was a nun in Hungary, because my family is also Hungarian on the other side. She was like forced to be a nun in Hungary, and then like I am an American whore. So like just
okay, so there's a whole lineage of transformation here.
Yes. So I grew up just like her but in America, very Catholic household. My parents followed the religion's rules so closely that they had 8 kids.
Wow.
No birth control.
Okay.
I'm the 8th one. So I came into a family that was like extremely short on resources. We were kind of like, I think we were, now that I'm an adult, I'm like, I think we were upper lower class or like middle lower class.
Okay.
But basically like we were on and off food stamps. It was never like, there was never enough resources growing up. And all the religion, telling me I was bad and wrong. Meanwhile, I'm like having sexual encounters with females, but thinking I'm straight because of the religion.
That is interesting.
I'm able to laugh about it now. Because looking back, I'm like, oh, I played college basketball. I rolled around with girls. Like, I was always gay.
That is so, but I think I appreciate you bringing that up, because I also follow some accounts on Instagram that are like late to lesbian and stuff like that. I think there's almost like a trend where it's like so, and especially if people are just, bisexual or queer and also attracted to other genders, it can be so easy for that to get buried.
Oh, totally. Especially when it's literally easier to bring a guy home to your family who's really religious, It's all built in. It's all built into the like hetero romance.
Yeah.
But anyways, so I'm like this weird rainbow fairy child, but in a super conservative household where Jesus is literally painted life-size on the living room wall.
Life-size?
Life-size.
Not just like a picture painting or a cross.
No, a mural.
Okay.
A mural of Jesus.
Wow.
And scriptures painted on all the walls. Like, that's how religious my house was. Okay. So then I was like, I gotta get out of here. And I moved to New York City at the age of 15 and convinced my parents to let my older brother become my guardian.
Oh, wow.
So I could like bust out, because I just knew like there's got to be more than this.
Okay.
And I ended up going to a performing arts high school and then stayed for college. And it was really like through that exposure that I got to start opening up sexually and otherwise. By seeing like all these cultures, races, all these things. Because I grew up in like a whitewashed suburban bubble.
I mean, New York will expose you to some things.
Yeah. Oh my God. The double meaning. The amount of dicks I've seen on subways.
Oh God.
And then I guess summarizing through, it's like relationships with men, really having this urge to do sex work since I was like 15.
Really?
I mean, yeah, I saw the show Secret Diaries of a Call Girl.
Okay.
Which is based on a book, based on a true story.
Okay.
So I was like, wait, this is possible? But I was only 15, so I didn't do anything about it yet.
Right.
It wasn't until I was 26 at the tail end of like an 8-year relationship with a man that I was like, I have to try this. Please, can you let me try this? Can I go on like the sugar dating website and scratch this itch? And he was like, no. And then I was like, well, then can we at least open our relationship? And we tried that and it crashed and burned.
Okay.
But when he dumped me, then I was like, literally 2 weeks later, I was like, well, guess I can do sex work now.
Yeah. Do whatever the hell you want now.
Yeah. And so I started exploring with sugar dating, which I consider like gray area sex work. It's never an exact exchange of sex and money, but you're in this dynamic that involves money and sex. And did that secretly for years until having a whole nother relationship and that ending, which then was my next catalyst to move into legal sex work on the books where I can talk about it, where I can like, you know, advocate for it.
That's
and
cool.
so I road tripped to a brothel in Nevada with my best friend who also wanted to try out being a whore.
Wow.
Sorry, it's so funny. I'm just like, my life is a
Quite
movie.
the girls trip.
Yeah.
So how did you pick out like a brothel? How were you like, this is a place, or I'm going to feel well taken care of here? Because obviously there can be safety concerns, you know?
Oh, yeah. And after the pandemic, there's about like 15 remaining legal brothels in America.
Wow.
They're all in Nevada. So we had like 15 to choose from.
Okay.
We actually started still during the pandemic, but when it was safe again.
Okay.
Luckily, this friend of mine, she's on the spectrum. She's a bit savant.
Okay.
And so she can do like really detailed research. And she read all these books and she figured out by cross-referencing like stories of women, which brothel was like the best to work at. And she was right, because when we started working there, talking to girls who've done them all, they were like, oh yeah, this one's the best.
Okay. So you did your research.
I was just going to say, I'm not going to say the place, but like you guys have the internet, you'll figure it out. Like it's kind of fun for you to figure it out. Find me. So we researched, and then turns out it's just like any job. You just apply to work there.
Interesting.
Like on the website, you just apply.
Is there like a sexual interview of any kind?
No, isn't it funny? There's all this porn that's like, we gotta try you out.
Casting couch stuff. Oh my God.
Right? It's not like that at all. I mean, it's a female madame. She's really cool.
Okay.
The application is pretty straightforward. You just write a bit, you include pictures, and then really going your first week is the interview.
Got it.
Because you're either gonna like fit or not, or you know, the first week is like a rite of passage.
Okay.
That's how I
could
say
see
it.
that.
It's a rite of passage. Yeah. But what's funny is you do have to, like, once you get to sort of the second round of acceptance for the job, you have to send a picture holding the date. Like you have to write today's date and send the picture to prove you are who you say you are, because you're going to be coming all the way to Nevada. They potentially are paying for your like kind of expensive ride from the airport.
Okay.
And they're going to feed you and stuff. So they need to make sure you are not catfishing.
Interesting. So wait, the first week though, you were in person in Nevada. Is some of this online, or is it all?
No, none of it's online except the application.
In person. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So then they know you're
like
coming.
Full service.
So you and your friend are road tripping. They know you're coming. Yeah. You're like ready to go.
They know we're coming. There's like a lot of prep. Like you do, you know, once you get in, it's going to be a month or so until you work. And so they schedule your session, they schedule your week with you. And then they give you like reading homework.
Really?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
Like I read Selling Luxury.
Oh.
And maybe one other book about sales or something.
Okay.
And then you are doing all your preparations of like packing, because you're basically moving there. You live and work in the brothel.
Okay.
So your first week, it's only 1 week, but once you get good at it, you can go for like 2 to 4 weeks at a time.
That's so interesting. So like you don't necessarily have to live there full time, but you can kind of do like a residency for however long.
Exactly. And we call it touring. Like we're on tour. So each tour is like 1 to 4 weeks.
Okay.
And yeah, you get your room assignment. You pay room and board. It comes out of your earnings.
Okay.
But it's like pretty affordable and they feed you.
Okay.
And yeah, you're living in a house with all these other girls doing the same thing, but you have your own room and your own bathroom.
Okay. Wow, that's so interesting. And so how was it being there? How did it go when you were like, I'm officially doing sex work for the first time?
Yeah. Well, luckily this friend and I shared that same money kink of why we even wanted to get into sex work. We love the feeling of being so wanted that somebody would pay thousands and thousands of dollars just for an hour of our time, you know? And so there was already like not shame.
Cool.
So that helped. But just as a person with a sensitive nervous system, it was a lot.
Yeah.
Because it's like you're in this whole new environment. You kind of can't leave. Like you're not being held captive, but you're on a contract and you're getting your medical testing. So like you kind of can't leave because that would void your safety protocol, which is like mandated by the state.
Interesting. Okay.
You know what I mean? So yeah, so you're like, okay, I'm committing to living in this house with all these other people that I don't necessarily know or love yet.
Right.
Although I'll say all the girls are pretty nice. Like the cat house is not that catty. That's what I always say. And then it's like different food and you're in the middle of the desert. It's like a lot to get used to physically. Yeah. But the actual encounters themselves, the actual sex work, I loved it from the fucking first second.
Oh, that's amazing.
Like, love that part. That's the best part.
That's so cool. What do you think like enables you to do that? Because I think a lot of people listening would be like, aren't there only certain people you're attracted to? And like, what if you're not attracted to them?
Yes. I feel like that was my number one question in my first like year or two starting out. People were like, but what if you're not attracted to them? And I'm like, the thing is, I'm attracted to the dynamic. It's almost like
that's cool.
Sometimes the fugglier the better. Like I've had some, objectively non-attractive clients. And it's almost like the heightened nature of that, like I'm this sparkling diamond and you're this like rough whatever is hot to me. And then it reinforces of like, you had to pay me to get this.
I could totally see that. I love how it plays into a kink for you too. That's fun.
Yes. I know. I usually tell people, because at the brothel, you can either meet people by they made an appointment and they already saw you on the website and they're coming in specifically for you. Or what happens most often is like, you just mingle in the brothel bar lounge. And that's where people who are walk-ins come in. And so you're kind of like making conversation. Maybe they buy you a drink. You're like a little bit getting to know each other before you negotiate.
Okay.
And what I usually tell people during that time is like, just so you know, you are in my fantasy right now.
That's
like
so fun.
And they're usually a lot of them are like, what? Like they think that I would not be happy being a sex worker.
Right. I don't think you're alone in that. And I don't know if this is a changing trend. I think there used to be the case where it's like, this is something people have to do for money because they don't have other options. But I mean, and maybe it's because of my job, but I'm meeting more people like you where it's like, this is something I'm into for me because it's an option I want to choose.
Snaps.
Yeah.
Yep. I may have an upcoming piece for Cosmopolitan TBD, but something about how happy the women at the brothel are. Because like in my experience, these are the most satisfied, fulfilled, empowered, rich women, independently wealthy women
I love that.
I've ever known. And they're laughing. They're laughing all the way home. Like they're like, we figured this shit out. Like it's one of the only ways left that you can like get rich quick,
That's awesome to hear. And I think that you said that was part of your journey too, of the kind of the financial journey that you've been on.
Yes. Right. Back to the 180 of my life.
Tell us about that part.
Like growing up on food stamps to like now where I actually have savings and investments for the first time in my life.
Yes.
Like, what? I'm still getting used to it. Like I sometimes have to pinch myself and be like, we're not in survival mode. We do have more than enough for rent and food because that has never been my life before sex work.
That's amazing.
I mean, okay, when I'm writing for a TV show, I get paid well, but those are like few and far between.
Okay.
So consistently, I've never been wealthy like how I have been with sex work. And then currently I don't go back to the ranch that often because I dipped my toes back into the sugar dating scene
Okay.
in Los Angeles, and I got into a bit of a dom sub dynamic where I'm the dominant goddess.
Okay.
And it's a little bit financial domination. So that's how we're running the ship.
We have a separate episode on FinDom, which we'll link to in the notes.
Yes, you should. And I need to listen to it.
It's a fun one. It was one of those where I was like, I probably should do like a kink 101 before I throw my audience into the deep end with FinDom, but we're just going to go for it. And it's fine.
I so get that, because even you hear me, I'm just like, yeah, and then I road trip to be a whore, because I'm like, let's just normalize it.
Yeah,
let's just normalize it. I'm a comedian, like I'm a comedian and a TV writer, and I decided to go do this.
Yep.
Maybe we don't need kink 101. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, let's go. Let's go.
I love that idea too, of just like going for what you want in life. Yes. And you said something about like giving yourself permission when we talked earlier, like. Can you say more about that? Because I think so many more people need to give themselves permission.
Yes, I feel like as a therapist, I'm sure you see that. Yeah. I'm sure you're just trying to get them to the point of like forgiving themselves and giving themselves permission. Yeah, I feel like that's one of my biggest superpowers that came out of that assault. It's just like, yeah, because back to who am I living my life for? And when the answer wasn't me, I was like, fuck this. Now we're going to change this all. And the answer is going to always be me. And I'm going to give myself permission to do whatever I want, as long as I'm not intentionally hurting people.
Right. 100%.
But I feel like people like get all these voices in their head that are almost like layers. And it's like, if you get down to the core inside, that core always knows like what's best for you and what you really want. But the voices of these other parts of you weigh in so loudly. Yes. And then people forget like, oh, if I can get, which therapy helps with, if I can get those voices to step aside, my core will probably be the one that gives me permission to do exactly what I want and tells me it's okay.
I agree with you. And I feel like that's been my experience too. It's like the way we're socialized, and it's our fears, but it's like, you don't want your fears running the show. You know, it's like, it's okay to acknowledge a fear, to like take care of a part that has a fear, but it shouldn't be in the driver's seat. And so I think, yeah. So I love that you talked about parts too, because that's like my jam.
Yeah. Do you do parts therapy?
Yeah. I'm an internal family systems therapist. So
I love IFS. It's helped me so much since the assault.
Shout out for IFS. And you're right. It's great for trauma. It's really like not pathologizing, you know, the whole idea that self energy is not affected by trauma, I think just like speaks to how resilient we all are. Yes. I love it.
Literally gave me the deepest breath. Like, also, I'm like, I get to talk to therapists twice this week, like my regular one and you. I'm like, this is the best week ever.
That's awesome.
Love therapy. But yeah, how can we get everyone to have therapy? How can we get insurance to cover therapy for everyone, sex work for those who need it? Yeah. Like, I think all of these are health needs.
Yeah. Can you say more about that, actually? So, you know, I think if you had asked me 20 years ago what I thought about sex work, I'd be like, so different from how I feel now. Totally. But I've also been intrigued by it for a very long time, kind of like you've mentioned. I remember watching like Gigolos on whatever channel that was on. I was like,
Cinemax or something.
Totally. Yeah. I'm like, this is all so cool and fascinating.
Yeah, it's changed so much. And I think there's still a long way to go. Like I just mentioned, I've just had this vision since I started working, because since I started working in the legal setting, I have a lot of clients that are special needs or disabled, or a lot of autistic clients.
I see that too.
You know, and that makes sense. You know, people who are lonely for whatever reason that may or may not even be like in their means to control, and they have needs.
Absolutely.
So I'm like, sex is one of your 5 houses of health. How does health insurance not cover your sexual needs?
Yeah.
And I'd love to see a world where we have like high-end professional setting, sexual healing.
Yes.
Because 95% of the legal sex work I do is sexual healing.
That is so Fascinating. And I think, and that's something I realized through doing the work that I do, you know, where there are so many people who don't have access to sex, basically. And I've also had clients who are sex workers and learned through their work, you know, of like how they're really helping people who don't have those outlets.
Right.
And I think it's a gift to be able to do sex work too. And to hold that space for people, which is very cool and healing. And, you know, and I think just because the work I do, I'm limited in that, like, I'm helping psychologically, which is great. But until somebody goes and has an actual experience, like in real life, I feel like it doesn't quite finish the healing or like change their brain, you know?
Exactly. And I think that, like, why is there this judgment on if that IRL healing they seek is with a professional? Like, shouldn't that almost be more revered?
Oh, I think
there's
so.
a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who will bring in their sons, like their young sons.
Oh,
'cause
interesting.
You have to be at least 21 to enter the brothel.
Okay.
But so we'll get like a lot of 21, 22-year-old virgins, and their father or uncle is paying, and they're bringing them there to like do it because they want their son to have a good first exposure in like a safe professional way. And I'm like, hell yeah. Also, I should have kept track of like how many V cards I had collected. It's a running tally.
That's a Cosmo story, I think, too. Just like,
actually, I have notes on I do take notes on all my clients. So like I can figure out that number.
Okay.
But
that's fascinating.
I have to go through the notes.
But I think so too. And like one of the things, so I work with surrogate partners sometimes with.
Yes, I was wondering.
With my clients. And so we do sort of this triadic thing where like I'm working on the emotional, psychological stuff that's underlying. And then the surrogate partner is working on the physical, sexual stuff. And, you know, even exploring like the wheel of consent and, you know, helping people tune into their bodies and sort of this somatic work and, you know, different touch exercises, you know, ranging from the whole spectrum of sexual activities. And it's just when I first kind of was walked through that process, I thought, wow, like I almost wish everyone could go through this, just this safe container. Yeah.
Okay. Hello. Like, how do we not only have no like anatomical education or abstinence only education in my case, but we don't have pleasure education. Like we teach,
zero
like,
of that.
How weird is that?
I mean, I think it's incredibly bizarre, but if you ask other people, they're probably like, oh, that's dangerous and terrible.
I wonder if there's any pleasure education in other countries. Imagine if there would be some education somewhere in your upbringing where like a safe adult explains to you that it's okay to feel good in your body.
Right.
And your body is built to feel good. Right. And these are the safe ways you can feel good and help others feel good.
Right.
Like,
and like, here's your clitoris.
Oh, and the asshole feels good too. Like, what? What?
Right.
Like, all right. I'm hoping for all these too. Like improvements.
And I even think future. Like when people with a vulva go to the gynecologist, that there should be sort of like a demo because people don't look at their genitals, especially. It's like if you have a penis, sure. But if you don't, like the stats on like how many people are looking at their vulva is like so low. It's concerning.
Oh my God, Heather, we should link to the piece that it either just came out or it's literally about to come out today or tomorrow. But I just wrote a whole piece with experts about looking at vulva, the practice of looking at your vulva or having a partner look at it. Yes. And the benefits.
Okay. That's awesome. Benefits. Yeah. And I do have an episode on the clitoris as well. So that's my 5th episode and I'll link to that as well. But I've had medical doctors listen to it, 2 of them, and told me that they learned more from my episode than they did in medical school. And it's an audio episode.
I feel like moment of silence.
There's no visuals. You know, and that's still learning more. I'm like, this is deeply concerning.
And what? It's like an hour-long episode at most?
It's like 20 minutes.
Not even.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
That's so.
Yeah. Right. Like I feel great about my episode, but I feel terrible about society.
Literally, my life. Like that's my art. I'm like, oh, we're making a drop in the bucket, but at least we're making a drop.
Exactly. And so, I'm just like, why are we not taught about pleasure? It's like our own body that we live in. It just seems like, of course we should know about it.
I know. Do you remember how old you were when you first looked at your vulva? Because I was 26.
Oh, interesting. I'm curious when I actually looked at it. I remember, masturbating, as a younger teen, but like, when did I actually look? I don't know.
But definitely like as an adult. Like getting a mirror
earlier. I'm a very curious person.
Okay.
I don't know how closely I looked.
peeked.
I don't know if I could have like pointed out my clitoris for a while. Right. You know what I mean? And I feel like everyone should be able to do that.
Yes.
Yeah. Ugh. Okay. This is good. We're on a mission, GG.
Exciting. I know we really are. I mean, we really are. I feel like everything's urgent to me.
I know. And I mean, part of what I love about your work in general is like you're combining sexual energy and creative energy, which by the way, are both the second chakra.
Yep. Sacral, baby.
So I think that's
and you're a double Scorpio, right?
I am
Scorpio, or was that Jackie?
Rising, and then
Scorpio rising.
Jackie might have been double Scorpio, and then I'm Libra Sun, Virgo Moon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because second chakra is Scorpio. I'm double Sun and rising.
Oh, interesting.
So we're together on that.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyways,
it's not
so
surprising,
you were saying
though, that all this Scorpio people are
right?
Like doing something sex related.
Yeah.
Not
so true.
Shocking.
But yeah, those are sex and creativity and
healing.
And healing. Death and rebirth. Yep. All second chakra.
Yeah. So that brings us to your OnlyFans.
Yes.
Share with us about that journey.
So like I said, that I started after my assault because I was like, wait, I've wanted to do sex work for so long. I've been so scared. I've been even too scared to like put anything on the internet because of fear that my religious family will find out. And then I interviewed Lorraine Joe, if you know who she is. She's a slutty girl probs. She had this really popular blog that's still like a thing. And she was like top 1% on OnlyFans.
Okay.
And I was like so inspired. I decided to get on. So this is post-trauma.
Okay.
This is about 9 months, I would say, after my assault.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm just going to do it. I've thought about it for so long, and I've thought about only putting my feet online for so long, and I'm just going to skip that step, and I'm just going to put my whole self.
Wow. Okay.
And so I was like, okay, I'm fucking doing it. And started my temple of worship, I call it.
Oh, fun.
And the way I designed my OnlyFans was really intentional. It's like, I'm Gigi, the good ass goddess. Anyone who enters may, like any genders can enter, but you must be respectful. You're here to worship the art I create. And then I create whatever fucking art I want. I paint on my body. I paint using my body. Like I'll like pour the paint onto my like ass and titties and then push it on the canvas, you know? For those of you watching the video.
That sounds so fun also and freeing.
Yes, exactly. And expressive. And then like, I love making, I style all my shoots because I do modeling and stuff too. And so I will like style my OnlyFans shoots and cut together really cool music videos. And I don't do like raw sex acts, although I'll never say never. Like I might want to do that, but my OnlyFans is really more sensual.
Cool.
And it has been so healing for me because it was like my first, I would say, physical evidence proof of like, look, I'm doing something like kind of sex worky, like I'm getting paid and it's naked imagery. So kind of like sex work. And I feel okay about myself.
Oh, that's
like,
cool.
I feel good about this. And it felt like that just really, even though I had already been actually having sex with people for money in the sugar world, OnlyFans felt like a bigger deal because I was putting it online and that was all on the DL.
I could see that.
So I think for me, it was really healing because it made me feel like I'm authentic now. Now I'm saying it out loud.
Yeah.
I'm proving to myself that I'm not repressing from shame and fear.
I love that.
I've put it out there. Yeah. And then it was like, oh, I'm making money too, which I love.
It's also nice.
You know,
yeah.
Love money, love my money kink. So that started rolling in and it kind of started feeding itself. And I really think I think it's just like funny and hilarious that I put my ass on the internet and that healed my life. Like how funny, how silly. How silly is that? You know?
You know what I mean? Because it's like, you're like, this is my body and I'm like reclaiming it and I'm putting it out there how I want to and the way I want to, you know? Yeah.
Oh, and the reclaiming aspect. So also from the assault healing, the going on OnlyFans was a moment for me to say to myself, like, he doesn't get to take that away from me. He doesn't get to take away how sexual I am. I wanted to do this before. I'm not going to let this stop me. In fact, I'm going to use this as encouragement to do it.
That's amazing.
And like having the, you know, as an artist, having the prompt and the container of OnlyFans motivated me to make more art, which that's healing in and of itself, you know?
Yeah.
Because if I'm just doing it for myself and no audience is seeing it, I call it like, I need the applause. So like,
I totally
because I'm alive, you know, I'm a comedian. So like, I need the audience. And if I didn't have the OnlyFans as a container for my erotic art, like I maybe never would have made my deck of cards, or I maybe wouldn't have like,
true,
you know, gotten back to feeling okay about in-person sex.
Yeah. So can we pull a card for people?
Yes. Oh my God.
Okay. So you tell us how it works. So is this going to apply to everyone listening?
Yes, I love doing that. Whenever you're listening, wherever you're listening. This is from my deck called The Sexiest Deck Alive.
Love it. And if you watch the YouTube, you can actually get to see the cards.
You'll get to see the visual. Them. Yeah, they're super like psychedelic looking. They're all digital collage, and we're just gonna get a message of whatever we need to know right now.
Love it.
Here it is. Ooh. Femme on femme. Let me try to get the camera to focus. Oh, oops. Okay. It
might be backwards, but we'll read it to you. It's very cool in pink with yellow text, and it is psychedelic.
It's very psychedelic. There's a girl topless.
Ooh.
Happens to be me in a wig. So if you're curious to put the tits to the voice, you can buy the deck of cards. So this is all about divine feminine energy, which I feel like we're already talking about.
100%.
Let me read it to you. Yes. The divine feminine is soaking in erotic energy. Tap that. I mean, tap into that. You need to indulge your dark, impulsive, feminine side more. Open, receive, and be femme on femme. I just got goosebumps talking about wild.
Yeah.
Like how we started this conversation. Yep. That's the divine feminine, is the wild creature that we all have in us. It doesn't matter your gender. You all have feminine energy. So this card is reminding you to tap into that. And to be honest, the feminine energy is way more misunderstood. It's usually more uncomfortable than the masculine, because we live in a masculine society. We do. So this is like, you need to rest. You need to lay down for 10 minutes in the middle of your workday. That's the feminine energy. This is like, you need to eat the thing you're actually craving, because why are you being so controlling? Yep. This is like voicing your vulnerability to your partner, saying what you need. That's receiving. That's opening, and that's the divine feminine. Yep. So whatever that sparks for you, listener, you need more femme on femme.
I love that. And I appreciate you even kind of defining feminine a little bit, because I know for so long I was like, what is feminine? Is that just like when you wear more dresses?
They'd have us believe that.
I mean, right? That's kind of what it seems like. And
literally the symbol to get into the women's restroom is a dress. Like,
that's true.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
that is a little fucked up, isn't it?
That.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want a rocker chick on the door to the bathroom.
I
That's
love
like,
that.
Whoa. Wait, did you see what just happened to my screen?
Just turned like literally rocker chick. I think you said the word and it did it.
Oh, no, it's okay, you guys, this is freaky.
She's doing a rock symbol.
Okay.
Her Zoom background is changing.
We're in the future. We
are actually.
Now.
It is creepy.
Wait, Heather, this card, Femme on Femme, actually really plays into my question for you. Could you possibly ask a therapist?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I already forgot.
Right here. Is that okay? Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Femme on Femme, I'm in my first personal life relationship with a woman.
Oh, cool.
So, I've dated women for money, or I've dated women alongside men, like in thruples. But I have a girlfriend.
Yay!
So excited.
It is exciting.
And she gave me permission to ask you this question.
Oh, cool.
So I'm not doxing anyone.
Okay, cool.
But so she has always had monogamous relationships. I've more so had non-monogamous ever since figuring out that's my nature.
Mm-hmm.
And we are at the beginning only like a month and a half in.
Okay.
That being said, we've been friends for 5 years, so I know her and love her deeply.
That's
yes.
cool.
So we have like all that built-in trust.
Mm-hmm.
But dating-wise, we're new. And I guess we just wanted to ask like any tips on approaching it as like gently and healthily as possible.
Mm-hmm. So have you decided to pursue the non-monogamous path together?
Okay, so what we decided for right now is we are monogamous, and we're going to do like we're doing a set time window of about 3.5 months of monogamy, and then we want to revisit opening it after.
Okay.
That being said, she's dating a sex worker, so I'm not physically monogamous, but I'm romantically monogamous with her. And so we're navigating that too.
Okay.
What we've been doing with that is like involving her. Like each time I see a client, she knows, she hears about it, and then she reclaims me after, which is really hot.
Love that. Okay. I think that's an important thing to do, is the reclaiming, and that seems to work well for a lot of people.
So even for like personal, you mean, not sex work?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ah,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, like I have a client right now who's a swinger, and like when her and her husband go have sex with another couple, you know, they each have kind of different reclaiming rituals. So so like her husband maybe just needs like some affection or like cuddling, and she wants to feel like he maybe plans a date or does something to show, hey, you're not just a fuck, you're my like special person.
Oh, love hearing those examples.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I love that they can be different.
Yeah. I think that's important. It's like platinum rule instead of golden rule, you know? It's like,
oh, wait, what does that mean?
Yeah, so the golden rule is like treat others how you want to be treated. And the platinum rule is treat others how they want to be treated.
Oh my God, yes. How have I never heard this?
Because we don't all want the same things, you know? Like we're totally different people.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
I'm excited for you though. And I love that like your girlfriend, it's like the fact that she's known you, she knows like, you know, who you really are on a deep level. You know, it sounds like you guys are going to be able to figure this out. And it sounds like there's some flexibility on your end too, where you're like, let's have this monogamous period. So like, you know, it sounds like you got two people who are smart and know each other well and are willing to work on it.
Yes, I can't wait to tell her after this. We're doing it right, babe.
I think you are. And I mean, I think the key, and you probably know this already, is communication. I mean, if you're going to be non-monogamous, especially, you know, it's just going to highlight issues that are there that maybe would be more invisible if you were monogamous, and you just have to have advanced communication skills. But to me, it seems like you probably already do.
Yeah, we were talking about exactly that, and I called it overt communication because in my experience, it's almost like you have to go beyond communication.
Yes. Like extra layers.
Or extra layers. Extra. But I love this idea that it could be different rituals of like, what does she need as the reconnection?
Right.
What do I need? Because so far, I think we've been shaping it to what I need. So I'm going to check in.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Since she's newer to it at all, so I've been kind of leading, but I'm going to check in.
I think that's a great idea. I think especially because she's newer, to like center it a little bit more around like her needs and like where, you know, does she have insecurities pop up, or, you know, not feel, you know, does she get a little concerned or worried or fearful, and like what helps reassure her and make her feel special.
Ooh. Yes, I'm like excited just hearing that.
Okay, good.
Also, dating a woman, my God, you guys. I'm
how's
like,
that going?
God, it's good.
Yeah. I love working with female couples. Like some of my favorite couples to work with are two women. It's great. I'm
just like, oh, you can use emojis in text. I can borrow your clothes. Like,
I love the emoji.
But seriously, like the emotional availability and the communication skills, which I don't think that by nature women necessarily have more of that, but I do think by nurture we do.
Yes, agree.
So highly recommend.
It's true. I had another guest on here, Evan Mark Katz, and he had done a gender issue or episode on his podcast. And I was like, I need you to come on mine and do that. But one of the research things he quoted was basically that two women in a relationship, that's like the highest satisfaction level of like all the configurations.
Dude, I believe it. I believe it. Because me and her are each other's first official girlfriends. Aww. And like, so we're kind of in it together. And there's just been so many moments where she did things that are so thoughtful and so sweet. I just go, good luck, men ever. Like, good luck, boys,
like, the
ever
bar
again.
Has been
like,
raised so high, you all.
So shot out of the water with this one. Like,
I'm excited to like hear how this goes.
And it's even another small thing. I'm like, I love getting her presents, and it's like easier because like I'm dressing a female, even though she's masked. They, my girlfriend / boyfriend is gender fluid, non-binary, and uses all pronouns, which is awesome.
I love that.
Yeah, so fun. I feel like I'm getting a 3-for-1 special. It's great.
It is great.
But I can like dress him a little easier than a dude.
Okay.
So getting gifts is really fun, but gift wrapping, I'm like, a dude never appreciated how good I am at gift wrapping.
Oh, interesting.
And a woman, like, she appreciates the artistry of my decorating and my wrapping.
I love that.
Those little things.
This sounds like an amazing beginning. It's so fun, like being newly in love too.
New relationship energy.
Totally. Well, this has been an amazing discussion. I feel like we're gonna have to like do future collabs or something.
Agreed.
Because I love what you're doing.
I feel like there's so many places more we can go, and you did so much good.
Yeah, a lot of overlaps. But so where can people find you if they're like, hey, this GG person is kind of awesome? Like, how do I get more of GG in my life?
Oh my gosh, thanks. My website is just ggsauvage.com, and there I have the cards. I have guided masturbation meditations if you want to hear my voice guide you to a nice orgasm.
It's fun.
Yeah, right? I love seeing who buys that one. LOL. When people think I can't see, but it's like, nope, that information is collected. I know. So yeah, ggsauvage.com. You can find me on Instagram at GG Sauvage and on TikTok at Hit My GG Spot.
Oh, that's so cute. I love that one. Okay, so we'll link to all those in the show notes too. But thank you so much for being here, GG. This was awesome.
Heather, thank you. This was so fun.
Thank you.
So fun.
All right, everyone listening, we'll catch you next Monday. Bye, y'all. Thank you for listening to the Ask a Sex Therapist podcast. Got a question about spicing things up in the bedroom? Find the answers you're looking for in my Dirty Talk Guide, a free resource for my podcast listeners. Grab yours now at heathershannon.co/dirty talk. Again, that's heathershannon.co/dirty talk. And be sure to tell your partner or friends because everyone has something they would like to ask a sex therapist.